Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be doing a video about Churchill Capital. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investor journey together. Today we're going to be doing a video about Churchill Capital. Should you buy Churchill Capital stock at $21.18, and why I personally think right now is a very good time to be picking up the stock. Obviously, everything I say in my videos is not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion. So with that being said, let's get started with the video. So let's talk about Churchill Capital. Obviously, we all know what Churchill Capital is, right? Started off as kind of just a SPAC stock, right? And then there was a huge alleged rumor that Churchill Capital was going to merge with Lucid Motors. If we take a look at the one-year chart, we see here that this thing IPO'd September 18th of 2020, and we see this huge write-up. This is all just rumors surrounding, is Churchill Capital going to merge with Lucid Motors, having a high of about $66. And then when the merger actually got announced that Churchill Capital was going to merge with Lucid Motors, we see this huge spike back down, a little spike back up, and then it's kind of just been heading downwards ever since, right? Currently sitting at $21.18. And there's a lot of other reasons why Churchill Capital has lost a decent amount of value. Looking at the 3-month chart, it's only down about 10%, which is it's not too bad. And looking at the 1-month chart, it's down about 12.66% of its value. We see this huge spike here, and then it's kind of slowly started to fall ever since. Like I said, a lot of it was attributed to just the EV market taking a big, huge correction, right? Tesla, NIO, XPeng, Churchill Capital in itself. A lot of big-time EV companies are not trading close to their all-time highs. A lot of them are still down about 33% of their overall value from all-time highs. A lot of people kind of attributing this to, market rotation. Bond yields are going up. It kind of scared the market. So people started rotating into like safer stocks like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, Microsoft, Apple, and all those kind of like higher tech stocks. But once money starts flowing back into these stocks, because like I said, these stocks are really cheap for the upside potential that Churchill Capital / Lucid Motors has in the next couple of years, right now is the perfect time to be buying up the stock. So what is Lucid Motors? Lucid Motors is an EV company based out of California / Arizona, right? And, we've definitely seen a lot more EV companies start popping up all over the place, especially coming out and IPOing. So how do you know which one is going to be the best EV company, which one is worth the investment? Well, there's a few things that do give Lucid Motors / Churchill Capital a pretty good advantage, and why I personally think the stock is a very good buy is, one, it's already a pretty established EV company. What do I mean by this? I mean that it already has factories up, ready to go. It's got $1 billion backing by Saudi Arabia as well. And like I said, they also plan on building a factory in Saudi Arabia. So, looking at it from a bigger perspective, it's not like Nikola Motors or some of these other EV companies that IPO'd and, more of it was just kind of like a business plan. Churchill Capital / Lucid Motors, like I said, it's a very already well-established EV company. It's got capital, it's got a huge amount of endorsements. Like I said, a $1 billion backing from Saudi Arabia is pretty incredible. So that's pretty good, and like I said, they have, the reservations for the Lucid Air. Like I said, they sold out on all 8,000 reservations. So that's also a pretty good sign that people do like Lucid Motors' car. And when we take a look at it from the bigger perspective, EV is one of these high growth sectors that's probably going to be growing over the next 10 years in no political way possible. But we know that Biden is really trying to take a more kind of approach of making everything a little bit more green, a little bit more EV, stuff like that. So when you guys take a look at it that way, that a lot of these EV companies are going to see a lot more growth over the next couple of years. For me, with Churchill Capital, my overall price prediction, I do think that Churchill Capital is going to be around $40 to $50 by the end of the year. I don't think it's going to be staying in this $20 range. As the summer rolls around, as people start rotating money back into these EV companies, I do think that it is going to do a pretty good job. We also know when Lucid Motors is going to launch its $70,000 Air sedan, which is pretty good. I believe the Air Pure is expected to launch around early 2023 is basically what they said. So, that's pretty good. And when we take a look at it from the bigger perspective as well, we know that Lucid Motors, like I said, on top of it being a pretty well-established EV company, we know that, like I said, the EV market is growing. And the thing is, Lucid Motors is probably going to be Tesla's biggest competitor. I know there's Volkswagen, I know there's Ford, and I know there's these other genuine car manufacturers that are really trying to roll into the EV because they know that EV is going to be the future. They know that, the EV market is very explosive. EV cars is starting to become the trend. So people are starting to rotate money into these car companies. But you know, when you take a look at it based on performance and the overall cost, stuff like that, I feel like Lucid Motors is the only one that can actually truly catch up to Tesla and actually compete with Tesla here in the United States. Obviously, there's competition all around the world, but there's been no, how do I say this? There's been no car manufacturer that's been able to compete with Tesla as far as its overall EV sales. We know that, I believe what I read was, you know, Tesla took up about 80% of all EV sales in the United States. So 8 to 9 Teslas out of 10 EV cars were sold in the United States. That means out of the 10 people who were buying EV cars, 8 to 9 of them were Teslas. So it goes to show that there's no really stiff competition, but I do feel like Lucid Motors can bring the heat to Tesla, and I do see the long-term growth potential in Churchill Capital, which is why I do think the stock is a very good buy at $21.18. I do see a lot more growth potential in the stock. Like I said, maybe not this year, but over the next couple of years, as the company establishes itself a little bit more, as its sales continue to grow. And like I said, they did max out the 8,000 reservations they got for the Lucid car. So it goes to show that there is a want and demand for these types of vehicles. With Churchill Capital, it's more about just getting itself on the road, making sure, you know, it's got its factories up for production. We know that a lot of big time EV companies right now are suffering from a chip shortage. So this is definitely going to play a lot into like how Q2 and Q3 look out for these companies as well. But looking at a longer term perspective, I do think that this company does have a lot of upside potential, and I do think that the stock can hit $100 by the end of 2022. So yes, you know, it's a long time away, but you know, seeing that that stock is going to grow 5 times the amount of value it is right now, obviously is just based on my overall opinion, but seeing how high growth these EV companies can be, seeing how they're putting up consistent results, and to show that there's definitely more room than one competition, I do think that generally speaking, as time goes on, we're generally going to start leaning more towards an EV type of world. Like I said, Biden does want to put up like charge stations all around the United States, so he's definitely leaning for more of a green type solution, and this is where companies like Tesla and Lucid Motors are definitely going to benefit, because you know, their sales are slowly going to start to increase, especially in some states. You know, you do get like tax write-offs, federal credits for driving EV vehicles. So altogether, you know, EV is definitely becoming a lot more popular, and the EV market in general is explosive and it's growing very, very quickly. With Lucid Motors, it is the same thing. Like I said, it's a very established EV company. You know, it's backed by Saudi Arabia, billion-dollar backing by Saudi Arabia. You know, they maxed out their reservations, and although they only did 8,000, it's still pretty good for an EV company that's just kind of coming up. They're also planning on building a factory in Saudi Arabia as well, which is definitely going to show that how Lucid Motors in itself already plans on expanding to the other side of the world. So for me, I think from an innovative perspective, I do think that Churchill Capital is a very good buy, $20.18. Plus, if you've ever seen the Lucid Motors car, I mean, I haven't seen one in real life, but I did see one on the internet. They're actually really nice, and a lot of people do call it the Tesla killer. You know, like I said, it's got a pretty fast 0 to 60 if you're a car guy. You know, the interior is pretty luxurious, and I honestly think it looks a little bit more modern. No disrespect to anyone who drives a Tesla, but I feel like Tesla hasn't really done much body style changes ever since the car actually came out, which I think they're slowly going to start doing here in the next couple of years as competition starts to rise up. But the Lucid, like I said, Lucid Motors, the Lucid Air is a beautiful car, and I do think that it's going to sell very, very well once production actually does get ramped up. With that being said, guys, that's all I really have to say about the video. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of Churchill Capital stock. Do you guys think Churchill Capital stock is a good buy, $21.18? If you guys own Churchill Capital stock, how many shares do you guys own, and what's your average? I'm always very curious to know.